John, welcome. Welcome. Basically, guys, well, John, let me introduce John first. John is the founder, okay, and this is, like I just said, he's a founder of Onlinejobs.ph. And John, I don't believe you know this, or if Nick shared this. I personally have hired over 100 people, okay, in the last 18 months from Onlinejobs.ph. So when Nick Pena told me you were going to be here, I was like, dude, get out of here. Like, I'm a client, I'm a customer. Okay. So that's super cool to have you
100
on.
people?
Man, I'll show you right now. I can't prepare. Check this out. These are how we train our team. And before COVID happened, John, we were doing a call center. We had about 30, 40 people on staff at any moment. So these are the check sheets that I use to hire people. Sebastian, and we have Maria, and we have Anna.
Dang.
These are all the people, my brother. And it even says PH right there. Okay. So it's a pleasure to have you all, man. And then let me kind of just get you up to speed real quick. So we're meeting for the first time. I'm Mike Barron, and pretty much what I do is help people make money on the internet. Okay. I'm a sales dude. I teach closing. I've been running an ad agency. I have a 2 comma club, and all these beautiful people right here, they're either up and coming entrepreneurs. Some of these people are starting to make some really good change. And what we want to do is put them in front of people that have had some success, that have done it, that are still doing it, and anything in the world about your story, any gems, whether it's entrepreneurship or mindset, we'll take them in. So we want to start with your story, and I know these guys are gonna have some questions. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, yep, John Jonas, everybody, welcome.
Okay, so number one, I didn't know this was going to be live.
He's like, oh, shit.
No, it'll be great. This will be great. So, so do you want me to like pull up a presentation or
no, man? No.
All right.
We definitely don't need all that. Just, how about who's John Jonas? Could you kind of take it back? Can you give us your little story?
Okay, so I am a husband. I'm a father of 5. I'm a disciple of Jesus Christ. I love to ride my bike. I love to ski. I love to ski in the backcountry. I love to travel with my wife and my kids. We love to travel and ride our bikes. I've worked about 17 hours a week since 2008.
Wow.
Get it, man.
And I have made 7 figures, like take home 7 figures for each of the last 10 years.
Good for you, man.
And I do that because I got these people in the Philippines who are amazing, and they run my business for me.
John, could you tell us, a little bit more about the business and a little bit about Onlinejobs.ph?
Yeah. So, okay. So let me tell you the backstory about this, because this is relevant. So when I started my online business, which was 2004, I didn't really know what I was doing. Like there wasn't someone to like say, oh, hey, do this and this and this and this. This is 2004, man. Like this was just figuring crap out and trying whatever I could. And I thought like, oh, I'm going to run a business online because then I can control my own hours. And like once you set it up, then it's done. And it's automated. Not at all. That's so wrong. But I didn't know that. I didn't know that there's always more crap to do. I just thought like, oh, it's just done and then you're good. And then I realized like I'm working 40, 50 hours a week here and this sucks. And I had tried hiring people locally and it didn't work for me. I tried it 4 different times. And each time the first thing they did was quit. And then I hired people in India and that sucked. And I won't get into it, but like, it's just hard in India because it's just a different culture. And then I tried hiring someone, and this was where I thought I had figured out. I tried hiring someone on Elance, which today Elance and Odesk have merged and it's Upwork. So basically it was Upwork. And I hired this guy to write these articles for me because I hate writing. And he writes them and I was like, yes, this is so awesome. He sent me 50 articles back and I figured this out. I figured out outsourcing finally. And I looked at the articles like, I have to go and read every one of these and make sure they're not plagiarized, which the first few were not. After that, they were. And then I have to like go and post these on all these sites because this dude's not going to do it. His job was to write articles and that's it. And then like all this major burden fell on me because I had just paid all this money. It didn't get done right. I had no recourse for it. And I had to do the work now. And it was like, I was ready to give up. Like outsourcing just sucks. So I had this conversation with this guy, the guy who owns backcountry.com. I don't know if you guys know backcountry.com, but they're the largest online retailer of outdoor stuff. They're based locally to me. And I was at this place talking with him. And he said, you know, when you're ready to start outsourcing some of this stuff, make sure you go to the Philippines with it. And I was like, really? Like that, you know, like who would know, who would think that would make any difference, you know? So, but it kind of gave me hope that maybe I would find something different. And he gave me a reference where I could hire someone and I didn't do it. And I didn't do it for three reasons. One, I didn't think I could keep someone busy full time. I thought I could only do part-time work. Number two, I didn't think that they could do good work for me. And number three, I didn't think I could afford it. And so I went back and forth for a couple of months of not hiring this person. Finally, I was like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I can't keep them busy full time. I can't keep doing what I'm doing because it's not working. Like nothing's changing here, right? And if that's where you feel like you are, if nothing is changing in your business, like you feel stuck because you have to do everything, then we're going to change that today. So I finally took the leap. I hired this guy full time because that was the only option I had. The only option was to hire him full time because it was through an agency. And I only had two options. They said, do you want a webmaster or a programmer? I'm like, well, I don't want either of those. I want a content writer and marketer. Well, do you want a webmaster or a programmer? Well, fine, I'll take a webmaster, you know? So I hired this guy, single most liberating experience in my life. I had him, all of a sudden, he was able to do anything I was willing to teach him. And I was willing to teach him to do that whole article process that I had gone through before that I told you about, right? Except this time he wrote the article and then I taught him how to publish the article and how to do the header box and the resource box and the linking. I started teaching him SEO and I started teaching him all this stuff and realized after a couple of months, like, dude, there's two of me now because this guy's full-time job is to do whatever I teach him to do. And I can teach him to do a bunch of stuff. And he's doing things that I was previously doing. And it's amazing. So the second time I went back to go recruit someone, I go back to the agency and they say, do you want a webmaster or do you want a program? And I'm like, I don't want either of those. And that was where the idea for Online Jobs came about. Like I thought, if I could just recruit someone on my own, like if I could build this software and get a couple hundred profiles into it, which I think I can, then I could recruit someone on my own. Because that's what I wanted to do. And that's what everybody I knew wanted to do, right? People didn't want to go through a stupid agency that said, oh, do you want a webmaster or a programmer, right? Like, give me some options here. And they wouldn't. And so I started Onlinejobs.ph. I launched it in 2009. And in the first month, we had a couple hundred profiles. And I had no clue. Like last year, we passed 1 million profiles. It's growing like crazy still. We've had hundreds of thousands of employers use it. I had no clue. Like that was not the goal when I built it, right? And that's what it turned into because it's so dang good, the workforce there. That's probably a little bit more than you wanted.
No, that's awesome. So when you were hired, when you were looking to hire somebody and they only had those two different options, how long ago was that? What year was that?
2005. I hired my first person in 2005.
Okay. And then who was doing the programming for the?
I was.
Wow.
Well, I graduated from College of Computer Science, so I was a programmer. But when I went to build Onlinejobs.ph, that was 2008, I went back to the agency and said, I want a programmer, right? So I hired a programmer in the Philippines to build the job board for the Philippines.
Yeah, I love that.
And he did it, and it was awesome.
John, is it true that the Philippines are the biggest BPO market in the world?
I don't know.
I've heard that.
So I will tell you this. When I started doing this, nobody knew about the Philippines. There was nothing. Nobody went there, right? And over the last 10 years or so, I've watched the entire world's outsourcing change from wherever they were doing it to the Philippines because it's so much different than anywhere else in the world.
Yeah. So the reason why I ask you is because I've been told that the Philippines are the #1 BPO outsourcing. It's like the Mecca of the world. And you're saying when you started, it didn't really exist. So
It didn't exist.
yeah.
And you know what?
Better than that. To some of
What?
that. You
Sorry,
could
say that again.
that is what I'm saying.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we've for sure contributed to it. For most people, so the reason I don't know about BPO is because for most people, like most of our customers, they don't want BPO. They don't want business process outsourcing. They want someone to help build their dang business. And like BPO, generally like, oh, a big business, we're indexing all of these records or whatever. So ship that whole crap overseas. Like, we don't want to know anything about this, right? But that's not what you do, or that's not what I do, right? You want someone to do a job, like do this thing for me. And you're going to work with them. You're going to know that person. Or, I mean, you're past that now. You got 100 people, you don't know them anymore, right?
Oh, no. I
Yeah.
mean, I have juniors that have juniors that have juniors. There's a lot of people now.
Yeah, right. But when you started, you got one person.
That's right.
And that one person, I mean, for me, that one person was do whatever the heck I want, do whatever I ask. Today, that one person that I hire is a talented user interface designer or a copywriter or someone to run my social media for me or someone to write emails for me or someone to do customer support. Today I have, I mean, whatever you can do online for my business, it's done in the Philippines, right?
Yeah.
Generate leads for me. Here's how.
How many people do you have on your team?
I think I have 38.
Okay.
I'm not completely sure though.
And how many people here in the States?
I have one.
Really? Wow.
One person in the US. Yeah.
Okay.
That's not true. I have a business partner who's in Idaho, and I have she oversees a lot of the writing that we do. She's here. She's also in Idaho.
I gotcha. Okay. So you said something really key, man. When I talk to entrepreneurs, the holy grail of entrepreneurship is like freedom. Do what you want, when you want, how you want, whenever you want, time freedom, spend more time with the kids, the wife, go travel. You said you done in excess of 7 figures for over a decade, and you work 17 hours a week. Okay. That's awesome. Okay. What
It is.
Where did that come from? Was that like your ideal scene of how you wanted to live your life, or how does somebody do that? Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so for me, this was forced. But for you guys, this is a choice now. So now that you know, what I'm about to tell you, you guys have this choice. So this was 2007. I had 2 people working for me, and they had been working for me for 18 months to 2 years, something like that. And I had spent a lot of time with these 2 guys. Like I already told you about the first one that I trained on doing the article process and then he started teaching him SEO. And then I started dealing with my blog a bit and whatever. And the other guy was more technical. So in 2007, my wife is 7 months pregnant. She goes to the doctor's office. I went with her. Like I was still going to the doctor's appointments with her. And we go in and he's run some tests and he says, you have preeclampsia. And if you don't go on strict bed rest for the next 3 to 5 weeks, you're going to have a seizure and you're going to die, or you're going to lose this baby. And, hearing that was obviously a shock to me. And all I knew was, dude, I have 2 other kids at home. My wife is going on strict bed rest. I'm not about to lose a baby over money. I can't work, right? For the next 3 weeks, 5 weeks. So when I got home, I sent an email to those 2 guys that I had in the Philippines and said, hey, look, here's the situation. I can't work, and I need you guys to do everything that I'm currently doing in my business. And I prefaced this story with saying they had been with me for a while. I had trained them, right? I don't want you guys to think that you're going to pull someone off the streets and they're going to do this for you. That's not how this is going to work, right? But for the next 3 weeks, I worked 1 hour total. My wife had the baby 3 weeks later, a perfect, beautiful little girl, which was... I didn't expect to be emotional about this. This is how I know when this happened, because this is when she was born. And she's 13. So she has the baby, and for the next 2 months, my wife really struggled after having the baby. And so for the next 2 months, I continued just taking care of my 3 kids now. And I worked about an hour a week for those extra 2 months. So I spent 3 months not doing anything. And when I came back, my wife started to recover and it was getting better. And I started to come back to the business and I didn't know what to expect. I knew that things had gone okay because I had been communicating with them. What I didn't realize, my business had grown during that time. And that's not because they had run the business and made it grow, but it didn't fall apart, right? And that's the big deal. That's the key there, is I had the help that I needed ahead of time. I had worked with these people and they were doing work and they were able to take over other things in my business that I hadn't had them do before because I had taught them so much, right? So when it came time to go back to work, like I'll tell you, there's only so many times in a day you can take your kids to the golf course. And then like, you got to do something else, because I was taking them to the golf course twice a day and I needed to work, right? But at this point, I realized the business that I was running, I wasn't needed there anymore. Yes, I could spend more time giving direction and I could do some things to grow the business, but I had a lot of time to do a bunch of other stuff. So here's what I did. I started designing a business based around how far can I take this outsourcing thing? Like, how good actually are these people in the Philippines? Because up to this point, I thought they can only do menial tasks, right? And during these 3 months, I learned, no, like they're super capable and competent and they can do a lot of stuff. But I was like, how far can I actually take this? So I started designing a business based around, they're going to do all the work. I'm going to give them instructions. So I record myself talking for 45 minutes, explaining this business model that I had, which the business model was, we're going to write reviews about products. We're going to post them on our website. We're going to do SEO. We're going to do everything, all the marketing that we know about. And we're going to have affiliate links on our products, right? So I record myself talking for 45 minutes. I buy a domain. I send this audio to one of these guys in the Philippines. He takes the domain, sets it up on my web hosting account, sets up WordPress on the domain, starts changing the theme according as I've described in this audio. He sends it back to me a couple days later. It's not great. And I had to go back to him and be like, hey, okay, let's change this and let's change this and let's change this. And I recorded a video. I recorded a screencast video, which I can talk about in a minute. And I send this back to him and he starts changing it again. And he sends it back to me and it's getting close, but it's not quite there. So I do it again, right? And we finally get it right. So then I explained to him how to write the reviews and he writes the first review. And this was terrible. The review was terrible. And I was like, oh man, I don't know if this whole thing's going to work or not, but I'm going to try it. So I modified how we wrote the reviews and we got better and better and better until like they were super, super well done. And then he starts doing the SEO. Then he starts doing like posting on Craigslist. Then he starts doing social media, which at the time, social media in 2007, 8 wasn't like it is today, right? Then he starts doing any marketing thing that you can think of that you know that you're supposed to be doing. I did over the next year, except I didn't do the work. I taught him how to do it. So that business in the first month made me about $200. Within 3 months, it was making me about $1,000 a month. Within a year, it was making me $10,000 to $15,000 a month. And that was because I had implemented everything I knew, right? I didn't do the work, but I was the CEO and I did teach all of what I knew to this guy in the Philippines. And that was where like outsourcing really changed for me, where I realized, holy crap, like this is completely, they're so smart and they can do such good work and they want to do good work. And I'll go beyond what I've even told you. He was joining the affiliate programs. He was writing the content. He was setting up the AdWords campaigns. He was sending me a report each month saying, here's how much money I spent this month. Here's how much money we made this month. Here's what I think I can do to make this better, right? And that was one of the things in the Philippines, like, they don't want to steal my business from me. They don't want to take this idea and do it on their own. They just want a job.
Yeah. John, I'm gonna give you a comment on that, man. So about 2 years ago, I had a friend, multi-millionaire marketer doing, 10 million annually. He's like, Mike, when are you going to go overseas, man? I'm like, overseas? What are you talking about? He's like, bro, you can get really good people overseas. It's a fraction of what you would pay someone here in the States. These people are educated. Whatever you're looking for, they're qualified. You should do it. I'm like, man, come on, get out of here. I'm American. Like, we're American. He's like, Google does it. Apple does it. Samsung does it. You don't do it? I was like, damn, you got a good point. So he kept at me. Then finally, I decided to go overseas, and I've been hired overseas ever since. And I've been hired from your site, man, which is crazy as hell. So just full transparency, I had a weird situation happen to me in the last couple of weeks where some guy tried to steal like my ingredients. Like, oh, I can go do it myself. We don't need Mike no more. Okay. And I don't want to be general. I'm American. I love everybody, but I'm gonna tell you this, John. I've been running a multi-seven-figure business, man, for a better part of a decade. Some of the most loyal, committed people that run with me that I trust. I'm talking about people have my bank account, dude, with a lot of money in there, and they can click a damn button. Some of the most loyal people have been from overseas, and I don't know if it's a cultural thing, but and not only have they been great associates, they have become like family to me, man, like sisters to me. There's a couple people I'm thinking about in particular, man. So I just want to give you that comment. Like she's about to undo her video. Look like
no. So let me talk about that. So like, there's this super interesting culture in the Philippines where they like they're honest, and this is with foreigners specifically. Like they're super honest to the point where my guys have access to my bank account, and my credit cards, and they have my home address, and they log into my personal email account.
Yeah,
they can take whatever they wanted.
I have the same thing. Let me ask you this. So 17 hours in a week, what is your week made up of? Like, what are you doing during that time?
Yeah. Okay. So before I answer that, let me go back. Cause you said like, oh, your friend was like, oh yeah, Google's doing this and Apple. Hey, we found job posts on online jobs from Google, from Uber, from Canva. Everybody's doing this, right? Huge. And they're hiring on online jobs, right? Okay. So what do I do in those 17 hours a week? This is super important. Because a lot of entrepreneurs have trouble letting go of things like, oh, I'm the only one that can do this. No, you're not the only one that can do this. Maybe you do it better than other people, but it doesn't matter. Like, I'm a really good programmer. Should I be programming? No, because programming, like I can make $150,000 a year, right? Who cares? You can't run a business as a programmer. You need to be the CEO. So in those 17 hours a week, there are a couple things that I do. Number one is I check on my people. Like I check and make sure, are you doing okay? Are you doing your job well? And then like I'll give feedback on their jobs, or I will give instructions. So that's a big part of what I do. The other part of what I do is I think. And this is the part where I think a lot of people fail, is they just want to follow someone else's exact. This is like, oh, here's what it says to do, so I can only do that. That's like, you got to use your brain, think, right? So in my 17 hours, which it's about 17 hours. I mean, this week it's probably closer to 12, but I will solve problems. Like I'll say, hey, we have this problem here, and this is my job, is to figure out a solution to this problem, and then explain that to someone else and let them do the work. Right? What is not involved in my 17 hours is Facebook or Instagram or YouTube. Those things don't exist in my life because they just take too much time, and that's not true. They exist in my life. Like, I think I post on Facebook and Instagram. I don't know how often, but I don't do it. Right. My guy, I send crap to my guys in the Philippines, and they make the posts and they respond to people on social media, because I don't need that distraction in my working time. Yeah. Right. The other thing I don't do is I don't do phone calls. I do not answer the phone. I get every single day. People are like, hey, can we connect on the phone? No, sorry. It just doesn't fit. Right. So I think, and I solve problems, and I tell other people to implement the solutions.
Yeah. John, this is, I want to know, do you meditate?
So I do a lot of scripture reading.
Okay.
I say a lot of prayer.
Okay.
And I do a lot of yoga.
Okay. That could be a form of meditation. I'm thinking of the same guy who turned me on to your platform. He said, Mike, you got to get to the point, man. You got to stop chopping down that damn tree. These 16-hour days, you're cool because you're in your early 30s, man, but it's not going to go on forever. You got to get to the point, Mike, where you do three things. He said, speak, think, and meditate. So it kind of it's in line almost to what you mentioned. Solve problems, think, and make orders, basically.
Okay, so that's the other thing that I do that I didn't say that I do, but I create content, right? So that's the speak part of it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Where's your content go?
I don't know.
Where do you post it?
I don't know. Like it goes on YouTube, it goes on Facebook. I don't know where it goes, LinkedIn or Instagram or email. I don't know.
You create it.
It's just going.
Someone
I
else.
create it and I send it to people.
Real quick, I want to. Nick was telling me before we got on. So Nick Legend, he actually helped me start my first business, and we've been friends for a long time now. And this dude's been really successful and has built and scaled 7-figure businesses. So I know Nick. I want to make sure you get your questions off, or we're gonna open it up. I know you have some rapid fire questions, man, but this guy's amazing. Nick Legend, what you got, Nick?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, John. So I actually wanted to reach out because I was a fan, and Mike's using Onlinejobs.ph, and I actually got into software development the last 2 years, and it's been really cool because everybody's overseas. So yeah, I wanted to ask a few questions that I think would help everybody out. One question is, when you're looking to start outsourcing, how do you start building that Avenger team of outsourcer? The people you're outsourcing to. What's kind of like that process look like? Who do you start with? And then what's the vendor team of, people you eventually build?
Okay. So the very first person you should hire is someone to do something you know how to do. So, and this is like contrary to what all the advice on the internet is. All the advice says, do what you're good at. Like, dude, I'm good at programming. No, that's terrible advice for most people. The first person you hire is find something that you know how to do that you can teach someone else to do, and hire someone to do that thing and teach them how to do it and get that thing off of your plate. And preferably that thing is something that you know how to do that you're doing that you don't like to do, right? So you get something off of your plate first. And then you have this experience of, I know how to hire this person because I know exactly what I'm looking for. I know how to train this person. I have an experience working with someone overseas where we make it succeed. And then you have more time for the next time that you want to go out and hire someone to do something that you don't know how to do. So what most people do is they go and hire someone. Oh, I need to build my website. So you go and hire someone to build your website. You're working 50 hours a week. Now you're working 60 hours a week and you're not managing that person well. You're not managing your previous processes well because you don't know how to manage building a website, right? So do it the opposite way first. At least this is what I've done, and I've seen so much success with this. Hire someone to do something that you know how to do, get something off of your plate, now work 35 hours a week. And now you can go back and hire that person and add the 10 extra hours on, right? So the first person, it doesn't matter what kind of person that is. It doesn't have to be an assistant. I don't like the word virtual assistant. I started using online Filipino specialist because you're going to hire someone who's good at something, someone who knows lead generation. You're doing lead generation, hire someone to do lead generation, right? Someone who already has some experience with it. And then you're going to teach them your specific things, right? Then you're going to teach that maybe that person has some extra time. Now you're going to start teaching them SEO, or you're going to get them a course on SEO or whatever it is, and have them start doing SEO along with their lead generation, right? And pretty soon you got 2 people there and they're doing some stuff. Now it's time to hire, depending on your business, now you hire a designer, because design work is always needed in online businesses. Maybe you need a programmer, right? Or someone to manage your website, and you'll know hopefully you know what skills that's required, right? And after a little bit, you have you've kept someone busy full time. You've started to grow your business. You've gotten a little bit off of your plate. You've got another person. Pretty soon you got 2, 3, 4 people. So I have 38 people, I think. I hired every one of them one at a time. Like I hired one, and then I was like, I need another one. I hired another one. Then I was like, I need another one. And if you don't, like, it's perfectly fine to go to Fiverr or to go to Upwork and hire someone when you don't have full-time work yet, right? Go use one of those other platforms. But I will tell you that every time you use one of them, it's holding you back, because it takes just as much effort to hire a freelancer on Fiverr or Upwork as it does to hire a long-term full-time person off of Online Jobs. And so that amount of effort that goes into that off of Online Jobs, when you hire a long-term person, that pays off 1,000 times over. So it's like I said, it's fine to go to those places when, oh, I just need a logo done. Great, just go get a logo done. That's easy, right? You don't need to hire a full-time person for that. But does that make sense, Nick?
Yeah, that makes sense. And you actually mentioned a couple of things that I actually have done, which is, do you believe in like, because if you're going to outsource a task, if you have no knowledge of it, how do you know if the person's doing it right or not? So I just want your thoughts on this process. So like, for example, with Facebook ads, what I did is I got in different mastermind groups. I got videos, I watched them. And then basically now I have the VA go through and watch them and, go about that process that way. Is that kind of what you recommend to people? Because
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is exactly why I recommend hiring someone to do something you do know how to do first, because it gives you some time so that you have a cushion, and now you can be like, oh yeah, I can go watch these videos about Facebook advertising, and I can filter them to my VA. Like, oh, what the method they're talking about here, ignore that, right? Because otherwise, you send to them and they have no clue. Yep. They just think, oh, I have to do every single thing here. Right. So yeah, what you said is exactly the way that I've done things. I will tell you that for Facebook ads, I hired an expert at Facebook ads in the Philippines. And it's kind of been frustrating to me. Like, I don't actually know if she knows what she's doing or not.
The thing that's worked well for me, so I spent in 2019 about 700,000 on Facebook ads, and it was like we did like 3.5 million, but I used the campaign budget optimization and basically used the bucket approach. And like, I personally I got the framework from Sam Ovens. So I went to his higher ticket mastermind. And as long as they're testing the creative content, right, you want to keep that fresh, but that's what's worked for me. And I just had them literally watch Sam's 12 hours of Facebook ad training.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yep.
Okay. I had one more question. So when you're looking to eventually build a team and of VAs, at what point do you look at getting a project manager to actually go ahead and, help? Because that person would essentially have to know what you know to like manage people, right? So like, what's your process to scale into that?
So the way that I've done it is that person that I taught to do this and this and this and this, then they're like, oh, I need help. Great. Let's hire someone to do something under you for one of those things, right? I've seen this a number of times. I can't say that I've seen this successfully done where you're like, oh, I'm going to hire a manager over all this and they can just deal with all this stuff without them being part of your business. I haven't seen it succeed. But
so,
maybe,
so
I don't know.
So
maybe Mike has.
Let me tell you something. Danica. Okay, so Danica that's hiding right now. So John, this is a real success story, man. So I never use the word virtual assistant either. Okay, that's a VA. I need to get a VA. That's a VA. Could we hire? To me, it's kind of condescending. Okay, we're talking about people here, right? So Danica, I met Danica a year ago, and she responded to an ad on your platform, Onlinejobs.ph, and she was brought on to do cold calls, grunt work, tough freaking work, right? So we brought her on, and she promoted and became a manager, and she became a supervisor, and then she became a director, and then today she got another promotion. Danica's been promoted and received 6 raises easily, I'd say, in the last year.
Yeah.
And John, Nick, she heads up our entire delivery department in Division 4. She must have about almost a dozen Americans that report to her directly. She's absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I don't want to say nothing because we have certain people here. She is like the heartbeat of our freaking organization. John, we did $2 million last month. So she graduated college. Her family was so proud of her. Her husband knows who I am. And we're waiting for the day when we meet each other. We meet each other, hang out, and go ride boats in San Diego. I have another woman here named Gladys. Okay, this is Mike Barron as well. And she came in as an assistant, and she handles our treasury. Gladys, don't use my credit cards. And has a team of 4 or 5 people under her full time. So Nick, project managers, these are directors, bro, of my big, huge multi-million dollar operation. And I'm not worried about PH, US. I'm like, are these good people? Can they do the job? Do they get results? And that's my experience with the project manager. Okay. It's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah.
That's the same thing that I've done. That's awesome. Yeah. Like, oh, you're dang good. Let's see if you can manage this. Right.
Yeah.
And,
Hey,
and
John,
people step up.
what's next for you, man? For your platform? What's next for online jobs? What's
So right now, my goal is to get the word out as much as we can. Like people just have no clue that this exists, right? And like you had no clue. And then once you find it, it's life changing, you know? So over the last couple of years, I wrote a book called The Outsourcing Lever. And I published that as a free plus shipping. And I also created a hiring course called One VA Away, where like you are, I will walk you through my hiring process, right? So I see your 2 Comma Club thing in the background. Russell's a good friend of mine.
One funnel away. Yeah, VA. One
funnel away. Right? I told him I'm going to call it One Funnel Away. He was like, I love it. That's so awesome. So he's a good friend of mine. Our families vacation together and stuff.
Oh, right on.
So that's my goal this year is to make that funnel profitable or break even, just so I can get the word out to more people. Like that's all I want.
You teaching your recruiting process, is it, I imagine it's a membership site, plug people into some modules?
It's one time, it's $49 one time, and I walk you through you hiring your first VA, everything you should do.
Okay, I can help you with that, man. I got 3 comic clubs coming. I can help you with that. Yeah.
Okay. I would, yeah, I'd love to see it.
Okay. Do you have anything? Do you have like a high ticket thing? No.
I do, yes.
Ooh, I can help with that.
Okay. Okay. So here's the thing that I don't do. And Russell and I have talked about this over and over and over again over the years. I don't do coaching. I won't do it. I will not.
17 hours, man. It's going to be too much.
I will not sell my time for money.
Yeah.
Under any. So, and this is what Russell said to me. We spoke together. We traveled to Australia to speak 7 years ago, 8 years ago, something like that. And he went on stage and he sold his stuff and he was all excited. It was great. And then I went on stage and sold my stuff. And we both went back to our hotel rooms. And I took pictures of every order form that I had and sent them to somebody on my team. And I was done.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh my gosh, this just like changed my paradigm. I have to now go fulfill on all these things that I sold. This is what he said. And you're done. And that's the.
Yeah. John, I can help you. I'm not Filipino, man. I'm Vietnamese and Mexican, but I look Filipino. So it might fit what you're doing.
You do.
Yeah. So I might be able to help you out with close some high ticket deals, man. Let me ask, we're not going to hold you long. John, tell me a little bit about like your development. What books are you reading? Were you consuming content? You have mentors. You talked about Russell. Tell us about that.
No, I don't have any of it.
Yeah.
I am reading a book, a religious book right now. I'm reading a travel book right now. I just read the book Breathe, about breathing. That's a meditation kind of book. I'm reading a book about avalanches because I love to ski in the backcountry. I haven't been in a mastermind group since 2006, 2007. Yeah, I don't know. Like my work time is so focused. I will say, I went to Russell's Unlock the Secrets event 2 years ago. Like we were at Lake Powell and he was like, oh, come to this event. You should come to this and bring your kids. Like, okay, I'll bring my kids. That was amazing. It was amazing.
Who was your favorite speaker?
What?
Who was your favorite speaker?
There were no speakers.
Oh, really? Okay.
So he talks about Funnel Hacking Live as being so amazing. Unlock the Secrets. That's his high-end mastermind event. It was Russell on stage for 3 days.
Gotcha.
And it was amazing.
Okay.
So that was like business changing for me.
And so where did you develop this, this ambition?
I was born with it. It like growing up, I had my dad and my uncle as mentors. Like my dad, this is like classic rich dad, poor dad. My dad worked a job and he was poor. He worked his butt off. He was a good dad. My uncle was a lawyer and he was rich. And growing up, I just knew I don't want to be poor. I want to be rich. I'm going to be a lawyer.
What's your earliest memory of that? I told my dad the same thing.
I mean, I remember wanting to be a lawyer from the time that I was like 8.
Yeah, I think it happens early, man. My dad, my stepdad, his name's Richie. So I used to ask my dad when I was 5 years old, I'm like, how come we're not rich? He's like, I am Richie. And we were just poor. I remember just being young as hell and I was always chasing success. And I used to sell candy. I had people in the high school selling for me. So yeah, I just want to see where that came from with you.
Yeah. I mean, like when I was in college, I did a pre-law class and that was the last law thing I was going to do. It was miserable. I didn't want anything to do with going to law school after that.
You turned out all right, man. So that's okay.
But I always knew I wanted to run my own business.
Yeah. Hey guys, before we let John go, do you have any questions about him, his background, anything about Onlinejobs.ph? You got the big guy.
Or questions about hiring people. Like I'll answer whatever. I got to take my daughter to, I have an hour.
We'll get you out. We'll get you out in 10 minutes, John. Okay, Sarah Davis, go ahead. Raise your hand.
So I'm just curious because you work 17 hours a week. You're very strict on that, right? You said you like to travel. You said you like to spend time with your family a lot. So I'm just curious, what are some of your other, like, do you have any other passion projects right now? Or what are you super passionate about that sort of drives the rest of your weeks and how you're operating?
So the passion projects right now are One VA Away and the Outsourcing Lever. Like I love it. I love it because it's effective. And so, in my business, every single day I get an email from an employer that says, thank you so much. This changed my life. Or someone who says, hey, I just signed up for Onlinejobs.ph. I hired my first person 3 years ago and I'm back again for another person, right? Every day I get that.
Right.
And that is so stinking fulfilling that I don't want to do anything else.
Right.
So outside of that, I love to ride my mountain bike. I love to climb mountains and ski down them.
Where are you at?
I'm in Utah.
Utah? That's a perfect spot, man. I love Utah. It's so beautiful. Okay,
It's
that was
awesome.
a question.
No, it's not. Utah sucks.
No.
Everybody on here, Utah sucks. Don't move here.
Idaho's way better.
He's like,
Actually, no, don't move to Idaho either.
Questions, guys? Questions before we let our guests go. What's up, Keaton?
I see a hand from
Keaton, we can't
Lavish.
hear you.
Lavish.
Okay, we'll come
I
back.
see hands.
Put it in the chat.
Lavish.
Yeah, raise your hand, guys. Lavish, what do you got?
Okay, so sorry, I didn't know the online jobs.ph, so I just got to know about that. So is it like we do have Indeed and Indeed version of Philippines, or like you people before putting them onto your website? How does that work?
So you broke up a whole bunch. I didn't completely understand, but onlinejobs.ph is like indeed.com. It's just specifically for the Philippines. And we do a lot of stuff to try and ensure you're just getting someone from the Philippines because the culture is so different. So like we don't mark up salaries. You go on, you post a job, you interview people, you hire them, you pay them on your own. So like it's just you and them. We're not a middleman.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Braxton, what's up?
Yeah, I just wanted to. What's up, man? I just want to ask what your interview process was like, because I'm reading a book right now, 50 Cent's Get Rich or Die Trying, and he was saying how, I don't know, he just says a lot of entrepreneurs are good at judging character. So I don't know if like you feel like you're naturally good at just determining if someone's good for the job, or is your interview process that successful?
Okay, so I'll give you the basics of it. This is exactly what the One VAOA program is. It's my interview process perfectly, right? But I'll tell you what it is. So number one, I do not. So you post a job. That's not true. First step, go on onlinejobs.ph and look at a whole bunch of resumes. Look at 20 or 30 resumes. That's going to give you a really good idea of the skills you're looking for and the salary you're going to pay. Then you go post your job. And then from the people who reply to your job, anybody who didn't personalize it, throw it out. Anybody who sent you a form letter, throw it out. Anybody who is clearly not qualified, throw it out. From the rest of them, you're going to respond to them via email. So you're going to start asking them a few questions, 2, 3, 4 questions in an email. And then after doing that a couple of times to a couple of people, you're going to realize, okay, these are the 4 questions I want to ask. And you're going to create a copy and paste. You're going to paste that into all the rest of the respondents who are reasonable. Don't spend a bunch of time on this. And then they're going to respond to you, and you're going to start responding back to them. And you're going to pay attention to their attention to detail. You're going to pay attention to how quickly they respond. You're going to pay attention to their English. You're going to pay attention to any red flags. And from there, you're after doing this like 6 or 7 times, emailing people back and forth, you will have whittled it down to very few people. And from there, yeah, you got a gut feeling about who you're going to hire. Or you can test people, like give them a test task, or at this point, it's appropriate to do a Skype interview. Don't do the Skype interview up front because you'll lose really good candidates when it's unnecessary. Yeah, so that was 2 minutes of my 2-hour-long One VAOA course.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Just mind if I ask one more? I just wanted to know, like, okay, your platform is mainly just people from the Philippines, but is that the main thing that makes it different? Or do you feel like you're actually, the people that we can hire on your platform are just generally better than, like, say, an Upwork or someone else?
No. So everybody, all the workers on Upwork from the Philippines also have profiles on onlinejobs.ph. And every agency you go to, they're all trying to hire from onlinejobs.ph.
Okay, got you.
It's not that they're better people. It's partly the Philippines is a big deal, man. Like, you can find good people anywhere, but just your odds are higher there because they're loyal, they're honest, they're hardworking. There's a whole bunch of cultural things that go along with it.
All right, thank you, man.
Yep.
Chris Milhauser.
Hey, quick question. So I wanted to know more about that course because I have always been interested in outsourcing, and sounds like you have a lot of the skills to I'm sure you know about the 4-hour work week. It sounds like you're describing that to a T. So where can I find out about your course? And then the other thing is, what's the religious book that you're reading? Because I'm interested in that too.
So the course is onevaoa.com. And
okay,
I mean, it's pretty simple. It's $49, and it walks you through step-by-step my recruiting process. Like, from how do you decide who's the first person you're going to hire, to what are you looking for when you're looking at profiles, to how to post your job, to how to interview, what questions you should be asking, all of that, right? So that's onevaoa.com. So the books that I'm reading, every day I read the Book of Mormon. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And that is, gosh, dang, it is so stinking influential. So the Book of Mormon is one book. I'm reading a book of commentary about the Book of Mormon, and he brings in a lot of commentary on the Bible. And that book is actually a series of books called Treasures from the Book of Mormon. I recently read The Robe, which is an amazing historical fiction about Jesus Christ's life, and like, so dang good.
So John,
thank you, appreciate it.
Famous Mormon.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. I wanted to ask, I know you said like articles and stuff, like that's what you were first hiring people for. Is that like an affiliate marketing is what you were doing at first?
It was, yeah.
Okay. And like, is that still your main business? Like that's what you've grown to do more platforms?
So no. So that business, that one website was making me like 50 grand a month. And then Panda came. It was all SEO based. And then Google started changing their algorithm and they wiped it out.
Mm-hmm.
But at that point, I had already been teaching people how to hire in the Philippines, and I was thinking about starting Onlinejobs.ph, and I had a couple other things like some info products that I was selling. And so that's my main business right now is Onlinejobs.ph. It got so big that I had to stop focusing on other stuff, and I had to focus on it.
Okay. And would you still recommend like hiring people for if you were to do something affiliate wise?
Oh yeah, no brainer.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, room for one more question before we let John go. Who has one more question? Mr. John Jonas.
So, John, good to meet you, man. I'm Mikhail. How's it going?
Great.
Very good. It's been awesome having you here, by the way.
Thank you.
Just so inspirational. I'm actually your neighbor, by the way. I'm in Sugar House in Utah.
Oh,
so
okay.
Thanks for keeping our best secret here.
Yeah.
To be honest, I would love to ask about where you've been going backdoor skiing. That would be my ideal question, but I'm going to leave that to another time. I wanted to ask you, what's the most challenging skill set to actually find in the Philippines? For hiring, what's the one that like you just can't seem to find?
So for a long time, I thought it was like sales copywriting. But I recently found that's not the case. And I have hired 3 sales copywriters.
Okay.
I haven't tried to hire a manager like, oh, I'm going to hire, I don't know. I haven't tried to hire a manager like we talked about because I haven't needed to. I've hired from within. I don't have a good answer for that, man.
That's okay. It sounds like basically even when you couldn't find someone, you found someone. So that's a good thing, right?
I mean, I have a friend who hired an investment banking analyst. He's like, this is a $200,000 a year person in the US. I hired him for $1,500 a month. You can find amazing people at just about anything.
That's awesome. The other question I wanted to ask just real quick, John, is there anything us as a group can do for you? We obviously want to thank you for being here. Is there anything that we could do just to, I don't know, help push your business, a link we could share, something like that?
So in Onlinejobs.ph, when you join, we create a free account, you scroll down, there's an affiliate link there. Or on onevaoa.com, there, if you scroll down, there's an affiliates link. You can join the affiliate program there. Like on Onlinejobs, we generate the affiliate link for you. It's right there. Yeah. My goal is just to get the word out. And like on OneVAOA, we pay a 90% commission because I don't do that to make money. I just want to get the word out, so anything if you have an audience, that's
check this out. Everybody, before we let John go, check this out. So John, here's our membership site. Okay. So we teach sales. I teach sales, right? I'm going to go into my division 1 where I do all the hiring. Okay. This is where I do hiring for my own internal team. Recruiting, hiring, and training you can't really see it, but it says virtual Salesforce. You click this guy here. I don't make this up. This has been sitting here for the last 2 years. Job board assets. Here we go. Guess who's at the very top, my brother? This has been here since 2008. Okay. So Mikhail, that's, this is it right here, man.
That's okay. Man.
So guys, John, I had a question for you. I have a 5-minute window. I want to borrow you for 5 minutes. But the links are here for the platform. Okay. That's onevaoa.com/challenge. So click that, save that. The next one is www.onlinejobs.ph. Okay. And it's also in the course. So go click that. Ladies and gentlemen, John Jonas, give him some love. Give him some appreciation. John, thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you. This has been great.
Guys, what up? It's your boy Mike Barron. Thank you for checking out the YouTube channel. Truly appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you forget, I'm going to come to this computer right now and I'm going to close you a damn cell. Let's go. I'll see you at the top, y'all.